Have you ever, like, walked down the brilliantly lit aisles of a Sephora or maybe just scrolled through TikTok for 5 minutes and found yourself wondering how on earth all these new indie beauty brands managed to survive?
Oh, absolutely. It is a complete sensory overload.
Right. I mean, you look at the sheer volume of them, it feels like every single day there's a new miracle serum or, a new minimalist moisturizer popping up entirely out of nowhere.
Yeah, or another celebrity brand. You're
Mhm.
standing there looking at this towering wall of beautifully packaged promises, and it genuinely feels like there couldn't possibly be room for one more glass bottle on that shelf.
Yeah, the market looks visibly maxed out.
Completely.
But then tomorrow, there will be 10 more. And that's exactly what we are getting into today. So for this deep dive, we are exploring a truly fascinating masterclass by Dr. Ari Masudi.
It is such a good source.
It really is. He's a former regenerative medicine researcher who is now a high-level business consultant for the beauty industry, and his specific focus is on new entrants.
Meaning the newcomers, right? The people trying to break into the cosmetics market.
Gee, Zach.
And let me tell you, his masterclass is an incredibly revealing look behind the curtain of an industry that, quite frankly, relies heavily on smoke and mirrors.
Oh, totally.
So if you are listening to this right now and you have ever had the dream of launching your own cosmetic brand...
Like maybe you've been sketching out logo ideas or dreaming of seeing your name on a vanity.
Right, exactly. If that's you, consider this deep dive your ultimate reality check and, well, your roadmap.
Because here's the big question we really need to answer. How is it mathematically or, honestly, physically possible that a nearly $600 billion global market one that is completely dominated by multinational empires?
I'm talking giants here.
Yeah, giants with billion-dollar budgets and decades of brand equity. L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, LVMH, Unilever.
Procter & Gamble.
Right, all of them. How does a market like that still have room for an entrepreneur launching a skincare line from their kitchen table?
It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
At first glance, the beauty industry looks entirely saturated, just completely impenetrable.
Yeah.
But it just keeps expanding. And to understand why so many indie brands can launch and actually survive alongside these legacy titans,
Yeah.
we first have to understand the physical reality of how these products get made.
Which is...
We have to completely shatter the myth of the lone genius chemist.
Okay, let's unpack this because, as a consumer, you just naturally assume that when you buy a $60 serum from a cool new brand, that brand has a lab somewhere, right?
That's what they want you to think, yeah.
You picture scientists in white coats holding up beakers, painstakingly developing this proprietary breakthrough formula just for them.
Exactly. That is exactly the mental image the industry relies on, and it's almost entirely fabricated.
Oh.
Yeah. Dr. Masudi reveals that behind the visible brands, the ones you actually see on the shelf or on your feed, lies a massive, entirely invisible industrial network.
Invisible network.
Right. The vast majority of new beauty brands never build a single factory. They don't employ a team of chemists. Instead, they plug into a ready-made ecosystem of contract manufacturers.
Okay, these are the OEM or ODM labs, right? Original equipment manufacturers and original design manufacturers.
You got it.
But how does that actually work in practice? If I'm a founder sitting in my living room with a dream, I don't just call up a factory and say, hey, make me a moisturizer, do I?
Well, actually, you almost do exactly that.
Wait, really?
Yeah, let's walk through the actual mechanism of how this happens. You contact an ODM. They don't ask you to provide a chemical formula. Instead, they open up their catalog.
A catalog? Like ordering furniture.
Pretty much. They have dozens, sometimes hundreds, of pre-formulated base products. So they'll say, do you want the lightweight water gel base or the thick, rich cream base?
And I just pick one.
You pick one. Then you say, well, I want to market this as a soothing botanical cream. So can we add a drop of green tea extract?
They just do it.
The lab says, sure, that'll be 4 cents extra per unit. They formulate it, they produce it, they pump it into the bottles, seal it, and they even help you source the packaging.
So wait, is launching a beauty brand today basically like running a ghost kitchen in the restaurant industry?
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You know what I mean? Like you're coming up with the trendy menu, the catchy name, the cool minimalist branding on the delivery app.
Right, right.
But a massive, unseen communal factory kitchen is the one actually cooking the food for you and like 5 of your direct competitors at the exact same time.
What's fascinating here is how perfectly that analogy fits. It is exactly like a ghost kitchen. A single factory might be producing night creams for dozens of competing brands simultaneously.
That is wild.
The liquids are all coming off the exact same assembly lines, but they head out into the world under different labels, different aesthetic stories, and frankly, wildly different price points.
But surely the really high-end stuff, the miracle active ingredients that brands are always boasting about in their ads.
The proprietary blends.
Yeah. The patented peptides and the advanced retinols, those have to be developed in-house by the brands themselves, right?
Not at all. And this is where the rabbit hole goes even deeper.
Boy.
The actual chemical innovation, the real heavy-hitting science, comes from a very small handful of highly specialized, massive chemical giants.
Like who?
We're talking about companies most consumers have never even heard of. BASF, Croda International, Evonik Industries, Symrise, Givaudan.
Wait, I need to stop you there. So if a new brand claims they have a revolutionary new peptide, they didn't invent it.
Almost never. Here is how that mechanism actually works. A chemical giant like BASF spends millions of dollars on R&D to develop a new, scientifically proven anti-aging peptide.
Okay.
They patent it. But BASF doesn't sell face cream to you and me. They sell raw materials.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, so they take their shiny new peptide and they license it to 50 different cosmetic brands at the exact same time.
What?
Those brands take that peptide, ask their ghost kitchen lab to mix it into their base formula, and then market it to you as their own proprietary breakthrough.
Which means if you have the right partners in this hidden ecosystem, you don't need to invent anything at all.
Nothing.
You can literally go from a mere idea in your head to a physical, scientifically backed product sitting on a retail shelf in under a year.
Precisely. And that is why the traditional business moat of industrial capability has totally evaporated in cosmetics.
That makes so much sense.
Think about it. If you want to start a pharmaceutical company or build a new smartphone, the capital required just to enter the game is astronomical. You need billions for factories and R&D.
Right, you can't just bootstrap an iPhone.
Exactly. But in cosmetics, the barrier to entry for the physical product is unusually, almost shockingly low. The factories are already built.
The chemical giants have already done the science.
Right, they're just waiting for your order.
Okay, but if the physical barriers to entry are practically non-existent, that just means anyone can do it. And if anyone can do it, the competition must be absolutely terrifying.
Oh, it's fierce.
So why are so many entrepreneurs so willing to take the risk in the first place? I mean, if I know I'm competing against 10,000 other ghost kitchen brands, why jump in?
Because the financial incentives are incredibly seductive. It really all comes down to the math.
The margins.
Yes, the cosmetics industry offers something that is almost irresistible to a business owner. Truly extraordinary profit margins on the physical product.
Yeah, Dr. Masoudi's masterclass gives a jaw-dropping example of this. He breaks down the actual cost good.
It's eye-opening.
He points out that a luxury skincare product that retails for, let's say, $60 might cost less than $10 to fully manufacture. But we need to break that $10 down because this blew my mind.
Please do.
The actual liquid inside, like the chemistry, often costs maybe $1 or $2.
$2.
The rest of that $10, it's $4 for a heavy frosted glass bottle because heaviness subconsciously signals luxury to the consumer.
Yep.
And maybe $4 for a custom tooled pump and a beautiful embossed cardboard box. You are literally paying more for the cardboard and the glass than you are for the scientific formula.
It sounds absurd when you lay it out like that, but it's the reality of the industry. $10 to make, $60 to sell.
That's a huge markup.
It is. When an entrepreneur looks at that spreadsheet, they see a gold mine. However, and this is a massive flashing red light, however, the market follows a brutal power law distribution.
Meaning a tiny handful of massive brands capture the vast majority of the revenue while everyone else fights over the crumb.
Exactly. The giants take the lion's share. Meanwhile, thousands of other indie brands either stay very small or they just quietly die off within a couple of years. But because of those massive margins and the incredibly lean overhead, remember, you have no factories to maintain, no chemists on payroll. An entrepreneur really only needs a few thousand fiercely loyal customers to run a niche business indefinitely.
A few thousand people in a global market of billions. I mean, that suddenly makes the dream sound very achievable again.
And that perceived achievability creates what Dr. Masoudi calls the illusion of endless success.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Here is the psychological trap. Small beauty brands that fail do so almost completely invisibly to the public.
That's true, you never hear about them.
Right. There's no dramatic bankruptcy filing on the evening news. They just quietly stop posting on Instagram, their website goes offline, and they fade away.
Just disappear into the void.
Exactly. But on the flip side, on social media, every active brand looks like it's thriving. They have beautiful studio photos, glowing influencer reviews, aesthetic packaging.
It's all very curated.
It acts as this gleaming beacon, continuously drawing a new wave of entrepreneurs into what is basically a perpetual gold rush.
Okay, I have to push back on this dream a little bit, just to ground us in reality here. Because, wait, if the margins are $10 to make and $60 to sell, that gives you $50 of gross profit.
Right.
That sounds like a license to print money. But if you are competing against thousands of other brands who have the exact same access to the exact same labs, aren't those incredible margins just instantly devoured by marketing?
You hit the absolute core of the business problem right there. The profits are absolutely not guaranteed. In fact, they are incredibly elusive because the cost of customer acquisition in a crowded market is astronomical.
Right. Let's elevate this to the actual business mechanics for a second. We're talking about CAC, customer acquisition cost, versus LTV, lifetime value.
The two most important acronyms in the business.
Exactly. If I have $50 of profit on a bottle, but it cost me $45 in targeted Instagram and TikTok ads just to get one single person to click buy now.
You're barely breaking even.
Right. I'm only making $5, and that's if I'm lucky.
And in many cases, your CAC might be $70, meaning you actually lose $10 on that first sale.
Ouch. So how do you survive?
The only way you survive is if the lifetime value of that customer, the LTV, is high enough. You are literally praying that they love the product so much they come back and buy it 3 more times organically, where you don't have to pay for the ad.
Wow.
So you are not paying for chemistry, you are paying entirely for attention and retention.
Which brings us to the most crucial pivot in this whole deep dive. The listener's natural next question has to be, okay, if I am buying my formula from the exact same lab as my competitor, and we are both licensing the exact same peptide from BASF,
Right.
won't our lotions feel and smell basically identical? How is it possible, let alone legal, for me to charge $80 while they charge $15? If the playing field for the physical liquid inside the bottle is totally level, how do you actually win?
The answer is surprisingly simple in theory, but incredibly hard to execute.
Which is?
They stop competing on chemistry entirely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Dr. Masudi argues that in cosmetics, the product is rarely just the product.
No, it never is. If you look closely at how brands actually fight for market share, you realize that 2 moisturizers with technically very similar formulas can and do sell at wildly different price points.
Right.
What separates them isn't the science. What separates them are intangible cultural signals.
We're talking about the brand narrative, the packaging design,
Exactly.
the typography on the bottle, the perceived expertise and authority of the founder.
Cosmetic brands sell stories. They sell identities.
Yeah.
And this is the exact playbook that allowed indie brands like The Ordinary, Glossier, or Drunk Elephant to rise incredibly fast and actually challenge those global giants we mentioned earlier.
They disrupted the whole space.
They didn't just launch another face cream. They introduced totally new narratives about what beauty actually means.
Let's ground that in a visual reality because the contrast is stark. Think about a traditional beauty ad from 20 years ago, maybe, like an Estee Lauder campaign.
Yeah.
It's usually a famous, perfectly airbrushed actress in a pristine clinical laboratory setting, wearing a white silk shirt.
Very serious.
Very mature, very aspirational, very exclusive. And then Glossier comes along.
Right, and what did Glossier do?
They flipped the entire script. Their ads were shot on iPhones. It was real girls with messy hair, dewy skin, smiling in sunlit apartments. They threw sticker sheets in the shipping boxes.
I remember the sticker sheets, yeah.
They basically said, beauty shouldn't be about covering up your flaws in a clinical lab. It should be this effortless, cool girl, skin-first aesthetic. They weren't selling a better chemical. They were selling a completely different philosophy.
And then you have a brand like The Ordinary who took the exact opposite approach to the same problem.
Oh, they are fascinating.
They came in and said, we're going to demystify the chemistry. We're going to strip away the heavy frosted glass and the fancy packaging. And we're just going to sell you the raw, unpronounceable active ingredients for $7 in a dropper bottle.
Exactly, because ultimately a skincare routine is essentially a daily emotional ritual.
Yes.
People aren't just buying a moisturizer to hydrate their epidermis. They are joining a tribe. They are adopting a worldview.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, cosmetics operate far closer to the emotional logic of luxury fashion goods than they do to pharmaceutical products.
Oh, that's a brilliant way to frame it. Luxury fashion.
Think about the psychology of that $80 cream we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Why do consumers willingly pay $80 for something that, as we established, costs $2 to mix and $4 to put in a heavy jar?
Good question.
It's because cosmetic products promise transformation. They promise youth, clearer skin, confidence. And because the actual clinical performance of a skin cream is genuinely hard to measure objectively on a day-to-day basis in your bathroom mirror.
Right, you can't really tell if it's working instantly.
Exactly. So the high price tag itself becomes a psychological signal of quality.
It's the placebo effect pricing.
It really is.
If it costs $80, our brains automatically assume, well, it must be doing something incredible. It's so heavy, it's so expensive, I feel luxurious just holding it. You are paying for the feeling of luxury, the ritual of self-care, and the promise of the outcome.
Exactly. You are buying the feeling of being someone who uses an $80 cream.
So what does this all mean? If consumers are ultimately buying into these tribes and worldviews rather than just strictly chemical formulations, the market naturally fragments.
It breaks apart into pieces, yeah.
People want to feel seen, and that fragmentation creates an almost infinite number of highly specific spaces or niches for new entrepreneurs.
And these niches can be incredibly, almost surprisingly specific. Some of them feel almost invented just to create a new market.
Like what?
Well, you have brands dedicated entirely to sensitive skin, brands formulated specifically for menopausal skin, microbiome-friendly formulations.
Wow.
Skincare specifically designed to withstand the sweat of high-performance athletes. Brands built entirely around radical three-ingredient minimalism.
And because we established earlier that you only need a few thousand loyal customers to survive with these margins, each of these hyper-specific niches can fiercely support a small business.
Exactly.
You don't need to appeal to everyone. In fact, trying to appeal to everyone is a death sentence.
Absolutely.
You just need to appeal very, very deeply to a specific group of people who feel perfectly seen by your brand's story, which is exactly what keeps the flood of new brands totally self-sustaining.
Which leads us directly to the core contradiction of the entire beauty industry. It is simultaneously one of the easiest industries in the world to launch a brand in, and one of the absolute hardest industries in which to build a lasting one.
Because launching just requires paying the ghost kitchen, but lasting requires mastering customer acquisition, retention, and cultural resonance.
This raises an important question about where a founder should actually spend their energy. If you are listening to this and you want to start a brand, you need to understand that the factories are already built.
They are ready.
They are ready for you right now. The miracle ingredients have already been discovered by the chemical giants. They are sitting in vats, waiting to be licensed.
So your success doesn't depend on inventing a new chemical compound in your kitchen sink.
Exactly. It depends entirely on your ability to craft a compelling, authentic story that a specific group of people desperately wants to believe in.
Right.
You have to be a master storyteller, a master of marketing psychology, and a master of capital allocation when it comes to customer acquisition. You are building a cultural signal, not just a skincare routine.
It is a truly maddening but utterly fascinating ecosystem. You have massive multinational empires and kitchen table entrepreneurs all sharing the exact same invisible supply chain, pulling from the exact same OEM labs, buying from the exact same chemical giants, all trying to capture a piece of this $600 billion pie.
And as long as the factories are ready, the barrier to entry remains low, and consumers keep searching the aisles for that next promise of transformation, the cycle isn't going to stop.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to mull over. If the chemical giants are out there supplying the exact same active ingredients to everyone, from the billion-dollar legacy luxury house to the indie brand that just launched on TikTok yesterday,
Which they are.
then the true active ingredient you must formulate for your new brand isn't found in a lab at all. It's your own perspective.
Beautifully said.
If you strip away the heavy frosted glass bottle, if you strip away the trendy minimalist packaging, and if you completely strip away the OEM Labs ready-made catalog formula. Wait, scratch that. If you strip all of that away, what is the entirely unique cultural signal that you are bringing to the self that no multinational giant could ever replicate? In the beauty industry, the chemistry is invisible, but the story you tell and the tribe you build is what everyone will see.